SoFloRadio.com. Since the dawn of civilization, the elusive quest in pursuit of the perfect drink continues to evolve. Now more than ever, we reap the rewards of this passion. The perfect vintage, the finest brew, or a spirit of optimum age and class. And now, SoFloRadio.com invites you to discover the wonderful world of booze by the glass.
Hey everybody, welcome to By the Glass. I'm your host Brett Hubbard, and I'm welcoming you to explore the wonderful world of wine, beer, spirits, and we got everything in between here for you tonight. I'm joined by my guest host Jason.
Hey now.
I've been crazy bad on the board. Intern Dio in the seat tonight. Thanks for joining in, Intern Dio. We don't normally get you behind the mic over there, but it's always nice to have you. He doesn't say much, but whatever he does say usually seems to be or turn it on. Wow. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's a great show we got here for you tonight. We're talking about nothing but the best in beverage culture, where we drink to taste every Thursday at 6. SoFlo Radio, bytheglassshow.com. We love having you because we love having all these great, wonderful beverages that we, it's a real big thing in what we do in our daily lives. I got to speak for the people that love beverage. It's something, you eat it, drink it, sleep it 24/7. It's everything that I do, and real good beverage. And I'm glad to see that the renaissance is happening, that it's waking up. It's just expanding. It's exponential. It's continuing on. It keeps going, and everybody's just becoming a part of it. It's like a wave that's rushing over the land, and it's capturing us, and I'm surfing it with my board, and I'm really enjoying it.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I thought it was just an excuse to drink. I'm just...
Well, that too. Maybe that's just it. It's actually a great gimmick, too.
Okay.
It really is. But what I'm really talking about tonight is Lagunitas. Now, the funny thing about this unbelievable brewery out of California and soon to be Chicago, which we'll talk about tonight, is that even people that speak Spanish can't even say it.
I can't say it.
It's so funny.
Lagunitas?
Yeah, it's like the funniest thing.
Lagunitas.
Lagunitas. And what does it mean,
Gunitas
my two Cuban friends?
Small lake.
Small lake.
Little
or
lagoons.
Little lagoons. And that's basically the area in which they started the brewery, I think in around 1992 or 3. Basically, it's one of the areas in the western part of Marin County, or eastern part, of Marin County, where they started the brewery. So, very interesting. Lagunitas Brewing Company is a brewery founded in 1993 in the Lagunitas, California region, USA. They're known for iconoclastic interpretations of traditional beer styles and irreverent descriptive text and stories that's found on their packaging. And of course, their Lagunitas flagship is the IPA, which is one that a lot of people try and like. The interesting thing is that I really love their Pils. Is one of my favorites. It's the European or the Czech style Pilsner.
Okay.
It's an amazing beer because it really has a wonderful maltiness to it, but then it's balanced with a spicy hop. But the hop gives you just enough of what I always talk about, a 3/4 tongue. That hop kind of gets on the real top of your tongue, and then by the time it gets to the bottom of your tongue, like in the back of your throat, it's creamed out. It's smooth, which is very interesting. I mean, the malt must be like they must do like some type of decoction.
Okay.
They really get that mouthfeel going to get the real wonderful rounded, almost like they have dextrins left over to give you a residual feel. It's a pretty amazing thing. So these guys are pretty extensive with their beers. So check this out. Lagunitas IPA, right? Typical six-pack, they got a 92 draft magazine, hoppy, citrusy, piney, spicy, medium-bodied, typical. But check this out. 43 different hops and 65 various malts. Is that a freaking joke?
Yo, what do you mean 43?
Now, George can only taste 42 hops.
I'm only tasting 42 hops in here. I think you're exaggerating.
Hey, I taste maybe 41 to 42 hops. I don't taste the 43 hops in here.
I mean, how do they come up to that number? Like,
I mean,
like, okay, we could only find 43 hops, or we wanted to put as many hops in here, and this is all we could get here by the deadline, or we wanted to do 50, but then we decided that at 43 was just right. Let's not go any further.
it's a combination of therefore such.
It's a weird number.
It really is.
How many different kinds of hops are there in the world? Because
left.
But this is the culture of Lagunitas Brewing. I mean, these guys are from their crazy mixes and combinations to their whole dog culture. Dogs are a big part of what they do. We'll get into that in the end of the show tonight. And it's really all about Mr. Tony McGee. He is the culture of Lagunitas Brewing. I would love for him to call in. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him to call in. He's too busy running a multi-million-dollar company to call in right now. But we're going to have a wonderful representative. I believe Mr. John Donaldson, who's the Southeast sales manager for the brand, is going to call in. And these guys are unbelievable. I've met some of these guys. Greg Meredith, who's the sales VP of sales. They just have the best attitude that you've ever seen in your life. They're really cool. Is the best way to explain it. They're not your typical corporate salesman. They don't wear a suit and tie, and they just get it done. And it's all about the beer. They say that beer speaks and people mumble. I tend to mumble at times. George always mumbles.
Yeah, I mumble.
Mumble. But basically, it's an amazing product, and we're so proud to have it. It's been in Florida for a while, but we're just now shining a spotlight on it. Well, you're going to have it tonight.
Try it.
Dio just informed me, because I can't remember yesterday, that we actually did one of the in our chocolate and beer pairing. We did the Chronic, which is the censored.
I don't think I was here.
Yeah, nope. You weren't here, so we'll try that one again. But we got a whole different bevy coming up. Unfortunately, John, we do not have the Lagunitas Hop Stupid tonight. I apologize, but we will have it in the future. We're going to have the pills, the little something something. Everybody loves a little something something. The IPA and the Maximus, and of course the Chronic, baby, which is called censored because the funny story of the fact that the guy couldn't put out a beer called Chronic, and they actually
that's total censorship.
Exactly. That's why they wrote censored on the. They wrote censored on a piece of duct tape. They put it over the bottle, and that's where it came back. So he just put it on the market as censored.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's pretty funny. But the censored guy didn't know what Chronic meant. He went home and asked his kids, and then blew a lid. That they were trying to get this out. So I'm not exactly sure what time John's calling in. Maybe Mr. Roberts, if you're listening, could shoot me a text and tell me what time he's calling in. You got my phone, right, Dio? Absolutely. Everything's good? Yeah? Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us at By the Glass. So Jason's got our Google Analytics working over here, I see. Jason, tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, no, then I just found a dashboard plug-in for you there.
That's awesome. That way I can go and see how many of you are actually listening to the show. We need you guys to tune in on a nightly basis, or at least a weekly basis. Every Thursday at 6, we're coming to you live. But, bytheglassshow.com, you can always go on there, look under shows, and I have just a tremendous amount of shows. We got to be up to like 150 shows. Because why? Because March 14th is going to be our second anniversary show, baby. Yeah, 2 years.
I think we should drink on that show.
You think? Yeah, I think I'm going to crack a bottle open on that show. Absolutely. What do you guys want to do for that show? We should do something fun. Jason wants to drink cognac. I can't even talk about on internet radio what George wants to do.
Something expensive, right? So
yeah, cognac.
But everybody should pick like their own liquor.
All right.
Pick or liquor.
Pick a liquor.
Pick or liquor.
All right.
That's what we call the show. Pick or liquor.
You're a liquor picker.
Okay, how about if we do this?
Jason and I are twins today. We're look like bookends. I don't know if you're looking at the camera over here, but
how about if we do this? Everybody picks their own liquor, and then they get to present it on the show.
To bring it in and talk about it. Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I get to think about this.
George will probably get a malty dark beer.
No, I'm thinking absinthe or something like that.
I have absinthe, but
we've done absinthe. Yeah,
we've done that.
Jason's absinthe during the absinthe show.
Yes, no, I was here.
I'm very torn because I've got some favorites, but maybe I want to do something a little bit crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, this show's all about crazy, and so is Lagunitas. Getting back to that, yeah. These guys are amazing. They're out at right now. They have their new
we have
brewery.
A bunch of beers to try. Should we crank one over?
Absolutely. What time is it? Oh my God.
It's 8 minutes after.
It's 8 minutes after. That's beer time.
A little early.
9. It just turned 9.
It's beer 30. Yes. So basically, let's start off with the pills. The pills is one of their lighter beers because it's just stylistically. None of their beers are light. All of their beers are tremendous flavor. Like I said, it's interesting when you talk about a Pilsner lager. Most people don't understand that with lagers and typical lagers, not adjunct lagers. Adjunct lagers would be anything that you would add rice or corn to, like a Budweiser or something like that. You have full flavor. If you ever drink a Pilsner Urquell, you drink a Radaburger, these are full flavored lagers, European lagers, and what they have is Lagers are generally malt and hops. They just want you to taste clean, pure malt and hops. They don't need any. You don't need any fruit esters. The fermentation temperatures are such that they're cool. Lagering actually means to lager away for up to 6 to 8 weeks in a cold temperature, between like 38 degrees. So you're not going to get a lot of fruitiness out of it. They just want you to taste clean, pure malt, and that's what you get out of really great lagers. Now, this one here, it gives you just enough of that wonderful malt flavor, but also really backs it up with a nice hop. But the hop isn't overly spiced. It's got a really nice creaminess to the finish, which comes from the body of this beer. So, and I love tasting beers out of these Sam Adams glasses because these are perfect. You can even get a lot of real good nose out of this beer. Now, I imagine he uses more than just 2-row pale, because if he uses 60 some odd different types of malts in his IPA.
I like this kind of beer. When I was in the Czech Republic, this is what you were.
Oh, you went to the Czech Republic. Did you go to the Pilsner Urquell brewery?
I didn't go to the brewery, but I was right there. I think I drank that type of beer. It was really good.
So this beer, has a wonderful golden color. The head on it is beautiful. Of course, just an absolutely exceptional beer, and it really does nicely cling to the glass. But what you get is you get a lot of really good typical malt flavors. But remember what I said about the hops? It doesn't come through until like the 3/4 palate.
That is so weird.
And then it finishes creamy. Do you get a creamy finish?
Absolutely.
How the hell did they do that?
It's got good mouthfeel.
Yeah.
It's got great mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Thank you, George.
George
is ready to do his own. George is ready to do his own beer or something on the show. It's got good mouthfeel.
Wow, it was almost like it's got a kind of a weird aftertaste, but then it went right away.
Kind of champagne-y kind of.
Yeah, it's got a great effervescence.
Wow, that's good.
These guys really create. I'm not sure how they do
beer.
this, but it's just it's a very very.
I don't know. It's nice and dry.
Yeah, it's got a great complexity to it. And complexity is not something that you generally speak of when you talk about a lager. It's not complexity. So this is definitely a treat here. Lagunitas out of California, Petaluma, California. It's interesting because these guys are building a brewery. The Chicago-based brewery is going to be 250,000 barrels. 250 barrel brew house, 600,000 barrel capacity. That's on top of the 600,000 barrels they already do in Petaluma. And the thing is the guy, he didn't want to waste all the actual carbon emissions and the money to ship beer across the country. Why not just make another brewery in the middle of the country? If you have the resources to do so, it's really a great idea because the beer's fresher for everybody. You can get a whole new clientele, customer base, and you can really keep people up to date. I know in Florida they carry at least 6 or 7 brands. There's a couple brands on tap, but that'll change as this new brewery comes online. There's going to be a lot of different brands. And what I love about these guys is they really do have these, what they said, the iconoclastic interpretations of traditional beer styles, which is what this is. This is a great interpretation of a traditional Pilsner, but it's an American interpretation. And it comes from that really cool California style of thinking, new ways of doing things. And they said if you go out to see the brewery, there's all kinds of people there. They got people that are a 22-year-old guy on a skateboard, all the way up to some old dude in a walker from Florida going through to check out the brewery because it's that kind of thing. And there's dogs everywhere, they say. There's dogs everywhere around the brewery. People bring their dogs, bring your dog to work day. And they like to put out, no dogs were harmed in the making of this beer.
No, they didn't dip any dogs in this.
They didn't.
No.
But he likes to
Filtered
he
dog
feeds his
filtered?
dog beer, I would imagine. He's a real, and if you look on a lot of the bottles, and if you look on their websites, go to Lagunitas.com, I would imagine what it is. You're going to see the little dog that's a bull terrier, and he's a pit bull, but he's not really. And we were talking about this before the show. How many people knew that the Little Rascals dog was a bull terrier, a pit bull?
I did.
And then the RCA dog was a pit bull.
Right.
And then you had the Buster
His
Brown
name
dog.
is Nipper, by the way.
Really?
The RCA dog, yes.
Is he Nipper?
Something
Nipper.
like
Isn't
that,
there 2 of them?
And then
The little
I
dog
don't
is
know.
named something too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big one and a little one for RCA.
oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just thought there was one looking into the photograph.
You're a young guy.
His
How do you even know
master's
RCA? I mean, that's like something I haven't seen since
The name of a
70s.
cable.
I think they're still around, aren't they?
Of course, they're still around, but I mean that.
I think I
Do
have
they
an
still
RCA
use?
TV.
Do they still use that symbol?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I remember seeing it on records, and of course those aren't around anymore. But people always try to prove me
They-
wrong. They're like,
Nipper
"Oh
was
yeah, I got
alive.
tons of
Records are
records."
around. The
He was-
DJs are back to vinyl now.
From
Oh, really?
1884
Yeah.
to 18,
that's great.
1895.
Yeah, see.
Anyway, so the Lagunitas Pilsner, this is fantastic. It's a balanced, grainy, sweet, leafy, light-bodied, right? California Czech Pilsner. Pours clear copper color. I'm getting a little bit more of a... I didn't get a copper. You guys get copper off of that?
I wasn't, no.
What, the color?
The color's
No.
gold. I don't know about
Yeah,
copper.
like a gold.
Yeah, that's copper. They know copper. With a white pillowy head, it's beautiful. Bohemian-style Pilsner. I do get herbal hops, biscuity malts. I don't really get much citrus or floral notes, but the grain is up front. That's that pure malt I talked about. Light sweetness. It's the only lager they brew. And that's really nice, too. People don't understand that when you're doing a craft brewery, you don't have a lot of stainless steel, and that's your fermentation tanks. So the less lagering you do, which takes 6 to 8 weeks to produce a beer, the more beer you can produce.
Right.
If you can produce more ales that are only taking 2 to 3 weeks, you can produce a lot more product, make a lot more interesting products. Let's face it, lagers are just not as fun as ales. Ales run the gamut, but lagers are pretty straightforward. I mean,
lagers.
they're fantastic beers. They're the number one beer in the world by far. They're what you drink to be refreshing. They have a place with our food and in our lives, but they're just not as fun as ales.
No, I got you.
I mean, they're great beers. Don't get me wrong, but you got Doppelbocks. You got.
You could do a lot more with an ale.
You can. You really can. But but I've seen quite a few different people do some interesting stuff with lagers. Okay, so John's going to call in now, I heard. So basically,
Soon?
Yeah, so that's fantastic. I'm going to let him talk all about the dogs, and he's going to talk all about the new brewery going into Chicago and the history and all kinds of stuff. And why don't you go grab another beer while he calls in? You want to grab the I don't think I can grab the PA. Grab the IPA so we can talk about the 46 hops, 42 hops and the 60 some odd malts. I can't believe that when I read it. 43 hops and 65 malts. That's amazing. So
At least they got more malts than hops.
they do. I don't even know how they came up with that many different types of malts.
Is that?
No, I think
that's
a
good question.
They might have had all that left over from brewing, and they just poured it all together.
But I mean, I study malts, and I haven't seen 43 different kinds. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
There's 43 different kinds of hops for sure, right?
I'm sorry, but 65 kinds of malts. I haven't seen 65 kinds of malts. I know that there's heirloom malts, and there's base malts, and there's specialty
it up.
malts, and there's secondary malts, and there's all kinds of different. But I didn't know there was 65 different kinds.
No.
I hope John calls in soon so we can get to the bottom of this.
Really solve this mystery. We'll just have to make drinking sounds until he does.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, that is a good Pilsner. Guys,
got
if
a-
you haven't tried that, go
This
out.
Deuce one has a nice head.
Definitely go out to Total Wine. And I'm getting a little more copper. Oh, because that's their IPA.
Yeah,
That's copper. Now, this is a beautiful beer. We're pouring the IPA.
And you can smell the hops right off the
Right.
bat.
the
Hoppy,
minute I opened the
citrusy,
bottle.
piney, a little bit of spice because of one of those 42 hops.
what's
Must be some type of traditional German type of, to get the spice in there.
I think you're going to taste a little bit of hops with this one.
Very flowery.
Well, it's floral, it's citrusy, it's herbal, it's piney, it's everything that you could possibly put into an IPA, and that's why it's really good. It's amazing.
I'm afraid to
Dio
drink
is
it, man.
smelling it from across the room. This
Yeah.
is only the IPA. You didn't pour the Maximus, did you? Let me see.
No, it's the IPA.
It's a regular IPA. Wait do you taste
Wow.
the Maximus?
Yeah, right. Oh my god.
That's got 62
But I'm
kinds
saying,
of hops
the
in it.
the minute I popped the top off, there's this overwhelming smell.
It's
came
a really
through.
wonderful smell, and it's a pretty amazing beer. But yeah, to break this down, hoppy, citrusy, piney, spicy, and it's an American Pale Ale. I'm sorry, it's an American India
Wow.
IPA, India Pale Ale, and it's a full of flavor. It's got notes of spice. There's some roasted malts which give you the really nice copper. They
Thank
use
goodness.
some caramel malts. You guys know about that, and there's some citrus fruit that comes from the esters that are created because of the actual yeast that's used. I believe we have Mr. John Donaldson calling in. Welcome to By the Glass Show, Mr. John Donaldson.
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's going on, buddy?
All right.
Hey, just having fun here in the lovely state of Florida.
Isn't it such a fun
Being a
place to
better
be?
place. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm actually a transplant. I lived down here about 12 years, but it's great to be back. We're really excited about being with you guys, and hopefully sell a little beer and have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we thank you so much for calling in, and this is like one of those types of brands that we really love to do on the show because there's such great stories, and you guys are wacky and crazy, and it's the internet, so you can get as funky as you want. But it's really amazing because the first thing I said was we're going to try the IPA, and right here in the press notes, 43 kinds of hops and 65 kinds of malts. Is that just are they just messing with me, or is that for real?
Just a little bit. We're from NorCal, and there's a lot of things going on there. Not only great beer, but some other stuff that's not
Yeah.
legal in some other states. So they
Yeah.
kind of fiddle with you a little bit.
I hear you. So I picked some music tonight that would kind of go well with that. So yeah, but we absolutely love it. And we were talking a little bit about the history. Why don't you start a little bit about the history of the brewery? Talk about Tony, if you don't mind. Bring us a little bit into the dog thing. We want to talk about Dogtown and all that stuff, and then kind of segue a little into Chicago, what's going on, and then future down the road. Okay, if you don't mind.
Great. Yeah. Well, we're lucky. Our owner is named Tony McGee. Just like a lot of folks that are out there, he got a brew kit from his actually for other Christmas time in 1993. It was right at Christmas, and he went in and started brewing that day. And as he tells, he got thrown out of his own kitchen by his wife. Kind of went out in the garage and started doing it. And he said it's been magic all the way. He ended up opening a little brewery about 8 months later, and it was a little building that was right in Lagunitas, where he lives to this day. That's kind of where the name came from. And when he was brewing, it was a little place doing really well, and they did so well that they backed up the septic system for the whole town.
Oh my God.
And when that happened, they kind of said, guys, we love you, but we
gotta go.
Flush the toilets. So let's you guys need to move on, and that's kind of when we moved on into Petaluma.
Yeah, John,
are
you originally? Where are you from originally? California?
Chicago.
Okay, well, it's funny because when you say Lagunitas, that's the way I was telling these guys. If you say it right with the accent, because I lived in San Francisco for years, and my buddy used to live in Las Gatos, and Los Gatos, but he'd say Las Gatos, and it's Lagunitas. Yep. And you just kind of get that accent down, and then it's a whole nother word. It's so funny though. It's like I never met a white guy who could say it right. It's just hilarious.
That's about the only thing I did right, but thanks for giving me at least credit for that.
You did a hell of a job. Go on. Sir.
Yeah, well, those 15 years of Catholic schools getting hit over the head by the Penguins was damaging in some ways, if you know what I mean. Anyway, no, and we were very lucky. So Tony, we've been there right about 1994. Then we moved in there, and been lucky. It's a great spot. If you guys don't, for you guys that are out there, if you don't know where we're at, if you go right over the Golden Gate Bridge, about 40, a little over 42 miles north of there, and you go right through Marin County, really very pretty area. We're right at the kind of the gateway to Sonoma, which is part of wine country. And Tony kind of picked Petaluma because it's a nice town, great folks there, and they have some great water that comes out of there. And the other thing was, as he puts it, and if you ever meet Tony, he goes, it's the prettiest drive in the world. So every day I go to work, it's kind of cool. I get to drive through some of the prettiest country in the world.
It is beautiful.
Go, take some beer.
You go right over the Golden Gate. You got Sausalito to your right. You just kind of head through Marin County, Mount Tamalpais on your left. I know I've did it a million times. I used to actually be in construction when I lived out there about 15 years ago, so I would always work on houses up in Sonoma and Napa and all throughout there, and it was an amazing trek. And Petaluma's a great town as well. Definitely.
Yeah, it's cool. We're very lucky to be there, and they're good folks, and a bunch of great beers being brewed out there, as you know, in a lot of places too. So, kind of cool stuff. Well, and then we've kind of been growing and doing decently over the years. We've had several different brands. Our IPA is about half our business, and it's really cool. Our IPA is right about 51 IBUs, so it's a little lower than some of the big beers. And
we're
6
drinking it
alcohol,
right now.
But very sessionable.
It's
very sessionable.
It is.
Yeah,
and
but still has enough flavor so people like it.
No, it's
so that's kind of cool.
You know what's amazing is we started out with the pills, and with lagers there's not a lot of complexity to a lager. Let's face it. I mean, but you guys managed to get a wonderful amount of maltiness, the clean malt flavor. Then it goes into the hops, and then it backs away on the end to where it almost tastes like an aftertaste, but it's really mouthfeel to where you get a creaminess that creams the hops out. How the hell do you do it?
Yeah. It's, Jeremy, our head brewer, and you'll see this pretty consistently with most of our beers, even our big beers like Hop Stupid and stuff. Even though there's a lot to them, they finish cleanly, and he calls that out all the time. He goes, "That's it's kind of my little thing I try to make in everything so people can enjoy it." I mean, there's a bunch of great beers out there, but sometimes you have one or two of them, and there's a lot to it, and it really doesn't allow you to have several more. Ours are kind of a little different, and we've been lucky enough that way that people enjoy it and can do multiple ones, depending on which ones. You got to be careful with it. Some of those are some big beers.
So other than beer, what do people love in the world? They love dogs, and you guys bring that dog culture right into the brewery. So two of the things I love most in the world are my beer and my dogs. So tell me a little bit about how that came about.
Well, it came about the dog that's on there is just kind of Tony's love there. And if you go to a brewery, everybody in the world brings their dog. They're all in there. It's really cool. It's a good feel. You can bring them into what we call the beer sanctuary, where the brew house is, and the customers can come and visit us. But it's really cool because they're just walking around and everything. The only bad thing is our carpets don't look really good, but that's a small price to pay to be able to fix your dog.
When are you gonna get tile, man?
you got hey, that's an easy price to pay.
Right,
it's their dog. And for me, for my wife and I, we before we had kids, which is shocking. I have a little girl, which is shocking that the state of Florida let me do that. But that's a different discussion. We had our dog, and that was kind of our practice round. So we had a Boston Terrier. It was awesome. So no, we're all about dogs. We do a lot of charity work with different organizations across the board, but we do a lot with different societies and helping out pets and everything. So it's kind of cool. It's in our DNA.
No, it's fantastic. Well, like I said, it's probably America's love, a man's best friend and everything. So that's amazing. Talk to me a little bit about some of the cool stuff. How about a couple of names? How do we name these beers in general? Hop Stupid. I'm sure everybody. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? But I mean, did somebody just drink that and said, "I'm stupid from these hops" or something?
Well, one thing Tony's all about, and if you don't know, he's a tweeter. You can see him out there logging in his tea, and he listens to customers, man. And I'll give you a couple examples how he does that. And he, when we were first making the IPA, and this is probably 8 years ago, he went to the next one we made that was our big one was Maximus. And that was our double IPA, and he was getting a lot of feedback. He was going, guys, we really want is it's all I'm something bigger. He said, all right, here's bigger. Hop Stupid. Here's 104 IBUs, a big 8+ alcohol. You guys will enjoy it. So, just trying to listen to the consumer and have some fun with it. He does, our names, a couple of them. If you don't know, one of them is called Censored.
Right. Tell us that story.
It was a copper ale, really good. Nice malty feel to it. What happened was we made it for about a year in California. It was called the Chronic.
Right.
You know that Chronic. And so, what? Excuse me?
No, nothing. Sorry, I just grunted there. Don't mind me.
Anyway, so we went up, and what happened was, if you don't know, when you go outside states or you go to multiple states, you have to go through the Fed and approve the label. So he sent it in, and the guy, he knew him. He called and said, "No, this shouldn't be a problem. Tony, I'll approve it. I'll send it over to you tomorrow so you can get it going." Well, as soon as that happened, the guy went home, kind of took some stuff home, and he left it on the table. And his kid came up, his young kid came up and said, "Oh, Dad, Chronic, they're making beer with weed?"
That's awesome.
He goes, so he said, "I can't." He calls Tony. He rejects it. He says, "I'm sorry, Tony, I can't do it." Well, Tony goes up and says, "Hey, listen, I don't want to be rude or anything. The biggest beer in the land is Bud. Miller High Life, but Chronic is a problem. Anyway, so we let him prove it. Right. So he put a piece of tape over it and wrote Censored on it and sent it in, and he approved it. And to this day, that's kind of where that came from.
There you go.
That's so cool. I mean, life is true.
Color.
Life is stranger than fiction. You just can't make that kind of stuff up. It's amazing.
I wish I could tell you that all this stuff is kind of embellished, or it's actually toned down.
Yeah,
we're a little different. I don't know. A couple other things. I don't know if you guys heard Brown Sugar, right? You know kind of how that came about.
Yeah, that's a great story. I heard that one, but I want you to repeat it because you do it better. Tell me about that one.
Well, what happened was we were trying to make we call it a gnarly wine, a barley wine. They came in and the guys were making it. It was at night. They were trying to get the alcohol content up. And it wasn't rising, it wasn't fermented properly. So they called Tony and Pam. This was 6-7 years ago. We had to struggle and get by, and so they came up and they called Tony and said, "Hey, it's not working. What do I got to do?" He goes, "All right, run down the list what you put in there for me." So they ran on the list, and he goes, "Well, holy smokes, man! You missed 250 pounds of honey. That's going to start the fermentation process."
Whoops!
So the guys go back and they're all panicky. They go, "All right, hey man. We'll run to the store and get it." And Tony goes, "Hold on, guys. Exactly how many little plastic pairs is 250 pounds of honey? You'll be there for 2 weeks trying to get them in there. Here's what you need to do. Run out and get some brown sugars." And that's the big thing costs. So they went and bought Sonoma County out of brown sugar, dumped it in there, and they let it sit for about 7 days. And they tried it, and they go, "That's not gnarly wine, but it doesn't suck." So they put it back in for another 7 days, and they came out, and it really kind of formed into this one thing, and everybody tried it. They pegged up a couple, sampled some folks in our sanctuary. They loved it. We went through it. We blew through it in like 2 weeks, and that's the story. We call it brown sugar. It's our, it's our sweet release. The good news, as Tony always says, is you know what? The good news is we wrote down what we did so we can keep screwing up every year.
That's great.
Kinda what brown
It's
sugar.
amazing. And then when you guys didn't have it due to whatever circumstances, they're like, "Man, Lagunitas sucks," right? And that was the next package, correct?
Yeah, well, what happened was, we get all our stuff from Rolich. They're Bavarians. They make the best brew equipment in the world.
Right.
Well, they were coming over with their new brew house, and the boat got caught in a hurricane and rolled, and the crane came off and beat
Sounds
the
like
hell
a
out of some of
Florida
our
story.
equipment.
That was through the Panama Canal, right?
Yeah, and horrible thing. And Tony's like, what are you going to do? So when it finally gets to San Francisco, they call him and they say, "Hey, Tony, what do you want to do? Do you want is it scrap? What do you want?" He goes, "No, I want that. I want that." It's all beat up and there's pictures out of it and everything. So it's part of his history. He says, "What are you going to do? You just got to roll with it, man, a little bit." So what he's going to do, it'll be over the next few months. They're take it and it's all dented up in the front. It's big. It's about 30 feet wide and around. You're going to take it, smash it into the front of the brewery, and have like a space guy come out of it and have lights all around it. And that's kind of our history. So,
That's
kind of
unbelievable, man.
Anyway, and that's where Stucks came. Because he listens to the consumer so much, we couldn't make brown sugar because it really takes a long time to make it. And we were having some inventory issues because of what happened with the brewery and stuff and coming over. So he's really sensitive to it and listens to people and online. Well, he said that day when we announced that we weren't going to do it, he got like 200 plus emails about, "You suck. You suck. You can't make anything." So he goes, "They talked me into I really do suck." So he goes, "Well, goes into Jerry, our brewmaster. They kind of made the special recipe with a bunch of rye and some different things, and it was cool. And they brought it out, and if you looked at the bottle, it was kind of a Star of Santa, and he goes, it was apology on there. He goes, "Lagunitas sucks. I'm sorry, I couldn't make it. We just had some problems with the brewery. Take this as a brown sugar substitute so we can get back on our feet." And it became our biggest seasonal. But it was kind of fun as people around the country ordering, "Hey, give me a Sucks." "Oh, I love that Sucks."
I love that sucks. That's awesome. So is Tony lives in Chicago now, or is that something I'm picking up in the
No.
notes? Oh, he's still in California.
No. He's still in he lives in Lagunitas.
Okay.
Not far from them. We're in the process of building our brewery. We're really excited about going back there. I mean, some other great guys, Sierra and the Belgians, are building some cool stuff in Asheville. And we looked at doing that a little bit. But we didn't, he kind of came down to the decision came to the fact that, you know what, he was from Chicago originally. It's kind of his hometown.
Okay, that's
so he went back there, and we probably have about 850 draft handles in the city alone. So the town's really digging the brand. And the other thing was that, you know what we need to do is let's find a cool place. So it's an old steel mill that half of it is a movie studio where they film Chicago Fire and some movies and stuff. So it's going to be a cool vibe, actors and everything walking around. And we're on the other side, on the other half of the brewery, and we're building it. It's all under roof because, weather can be sketchy in Chicago. And we're building we'll have the pub opened and a amphitheater pretty quick here in the next few months, and we'll be up and running with the brewery probably somewhere around the back half of the year, November-ish.
So that's the Douglas Park area, and the actual area, Cinespace, right, is who the 150,000 square foot. It's in Cinespace, 57-foot ceilings. Now, the tap room is going to be built in the middle. People can go in and drink and watch the brewery being built around them. Is that pretty much some of the consensus?
Exactly right. It's going to be put up there. They're going to make it with a good Chicago flair to it. But they're going to, as we talk about it, we're going to take a little piece of Petaluma and move it into Chicago and have some fun with it. Have bands and everything hanging out. And they did a promo. One of our guys did an awesome job. They did a big promo and charity event where if you brought, all you had to do is bring the ugliest chandelier in the world. And they got like 450 of these ugly chandeliers. They're going to be hanging that over it, so it's kind of cool. And it'll be very different. It'll have a good feel. Once again, it'll be a little bit piece of Petaluma with a little Chicago flair to it.
I tell you, we're drinking the Censored right now, and it's a rich copper ale.
The Chronic.
The caramel malts. Yeah, the Chronic. The caramel malts are unbelievable. You guys really can just bring the flavor. You bring the flavor. You really do.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
We've been very, Jeremy is awesome, and it's kind of a collaboration. We have several guys that get into it, and it's all about. There's a lot of great beers being made out there right now. It's an exciting time, but we've been lucky enough that people are digging it and liking it, and we're hanging in there okay.
Tell me a little bit about the Undercover Shutdown. That's a pretty cool name for a beer. What's the story behind that?
There was what was happening in California was back in 2005. they were going around investigating different bars and stuff, and it was just kind of, things happen. They were trying to catch people doing different stuff, and we were just one of them, because obviously our brewery's got a nice restaurant and everything in there. So they couldn't, over several months, they were trying to get folks to do different things, anything that they felt was illegal. Well, nothing came up. I mean, everybody was cool and no big deal, and anyway, so that investigation kind of wrapped up, and this was in 2005. We have a big party on St. Patrick's Day. Everybody comes out, and it's a lot of fun. Well, one of our guys was hanging out, and these guys, they were undercover investigators from the California Investigative Bureau, came in, and they went in. They were trying to get him to sell some weed or anything, do anything wrong. Well, he didn't do it. All he just said was, well, you know what? If you guys want to smoke one, I'll give you some, but I'm not going to sell it. And so they couldn't come up with anything. Nothing was legal. So what they did was they came back and they dug up an old prohibition law. It was called lewd and lascivious operations, and it could mean a bunch of different things.
Oh, my God.
And they shut us down for 30 days.
That's ridiculous.
And a bunch of other places, too, which almost put us out of business. And so we put in our bottling line. It worked out okay, and we were able to kind of survive it. But it's kind of cool if you read on the bottle on the bottom, with, kind of irreverent, whatever, we're still here. We're trying to hang in there, and it's called Undercover Shutdown Ale. And the funny part about it is the folks that were involved in the investigation, all these people, they are at the brewery every St. Patrick's Day. They're proud of being part of this, wearing their shirts and everything. So it's kind of cool.
That's great. Is that a seasonal beer that you put out?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that right about springtime. It'll start. You'll see it start popping out, and we have both 6-packs and kegs in that. And then our other seasonal, kind of back to that, is WTF, and that only comes in bombers and drafts. So we try to. We're a little different. It's not all about the It's in the time frame, but it's not about a summer ale, which there's some good ones out there. It's more about the style and what kind of fits, and have some fun with it, and that's why you get some of the different names, and we try to build it around what kind of happened to us, I guess, would be the
okay. Last great story, but the daytime. Tell me about the daytime. I think I remember you telling me about that before, and that is just hilarious. That's a classic. I buy the glass show. I want to hear that one.
Well, daytime. It's we call it a fractional IPA. It's we're kind of very sessionable, pulls people into it, a little bit lower on the IBU. Not too bad on the IBU. It's about 54, but lower alcohol, about 5.7, something so you can kind of get into it. People dig it. Well, we were wondering where the heck did this come from? Well, one of my guys was out there and they were visiting. He was visiting with the other guy, and he said they were going to hit some accounts with Petaluma. So he goes, "Oh, hold on a second, man. I got a meeting. Would you mind? It's going to take about an hour. Can you go over? Hey, why don't you go over and talk to some of the guys at the brew house to kind of find out what's going on?" Okay, so he walks over, and like 2 minutes later, he gets a call from the same guy. He says, "Meet me back at the beer sanctuary." He goes, "Oh, what happened?" He sounded like he was ruffled up. Gets back there, he goes, "What the hell happened?" He goes, "Well, the guy who was having the meeting got his daytime weed and his nighttime weed. He's all screwed up meeting over." So we figured we can make a beer that we can drink and function during the day. Why don't we make our own instead of...
That's awesome, man. That's probably one of the best stories ever. That really is funny. That's classic.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a pleasure. I mean, it's such a pleasure to have a brand and a beer that's just full of fun. Great stories. And these stories represent a culture that's coming from these people that's just second to none. And like I said, you can't even you couldn't fake this if you tried. This is the real deal, and it's what's coming around. It's a renaissance in beverage, and people are starting to open their eyes to you can have fun, be good, and get it done. Right, John? I mean, that's what it's really all about.
Yeah. It's a great thing. I mean, it's an exciting time for beer as a whole. I mean, everybody's doing some great stuff, and you just see people that change in how they drink. They're engaging with it, kind of like the stuff that went on with not a comparison, but kind of what happened with wine. People are just digging it and enjoying it and having fun, and it's really revitalizing the whole business. People are drinking a little less, but a little bit better. And it's kind of, we couldn't be happier. You've been in Florida a little while with Gold Coast. We're ecstatic about doing that. We're just starting to get placed here and get everything set up. But you're going to see a lot of us out there, and we'll have some fun, tell some stories, and just enjoy some good beer. You can't beat that. There's nothing better than bring our pooches out and sit out and hang.
Absolutely. Now you guys are going to. You were hoping to hit number 5 on that list of top 10. I mean, you guys are growing at such a clip that you're thinking, you're going to hit that. I mean, tell me about the explosion of the growth. I mean, you guys are hitting ridiculous numbers every year. It just keeps growing. It's just expanding. It's amazing. and now that you keep coming out with all these wonderful new offerings and everything, it's really nonstop. I mean, the sky's the limit.
No, we've been very lucky, and it's about just getting people with the beer, and they seem to be digging it, and hopefully they keep doing that, and we'll try to make the best beer we can. Being a number doesn't, for us, it's kind of not that. It's more about just, hey, you know what? We keep doing the right things and treating the consumer and the retailers and everybody and the distributors right, we'll be okay.
That's fantastic.
And the other stuff will fall into place.
Yeah. Tell me, just the Chicago Brewery, that's slated for late 2013, and then tap room done April, first beer brewed September. Are we on schedule for that, or how's that going?
Oh yeah, it's doing really well. As we speak, everything's being prepped, and then they're working on the brewery. So yeah, hopefully late part, sometime in November, October, November, which is the goal. And I think everything I've heard, they're on track.
That's great. Lastly, John, any little snippet of news, maybe some information we can get out to the people? They're dying for it. They want to know what's going on. Anything you can give me that's not too top secret?
We're working on something. It's not for sure, but you might see Sucks come back a little later in the year in a little different format than you're used to, meaning package. But we're working on it, trying to figure out if that can fit okay. And we got a really great response. But we'll probably hear more about that in the next few months. So I'll know exactly where it is.
And then you had mentioned a Florida or a Fusion beer that you currently have in Oregon that you might bring to Florida and call Florida Fusion or something like that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, if we make a Fusion series, this one would be Fusion 13. And because a lot of folks had asked for something like that, and this is something we kind of make special. We're going to have some here in Florida for probably about a month and a half. It'll probably arrive here in about 30 days. So more to come on that. We don't, we're still trying to figure out what, there's a lot of laws and different things. But right now it's called Fusion 13. It's a big hit. We've done them in different places, Oregon, and we just did one that's just going to start next week in Austin for South by Southwest. We did a Fusion 12 there, and we're going to have something here that Tony and Jeremy put together, which is going to be cool, that we'll be able to sell here in Florida, called Fusion 13. So more to come in that. It'll be cool, though. You'll like it.
What I loved about it is I asked you guys, well, what kind of beer is it? What kind of style? I'm sitting there all these questions. I really don't know. That's kind of why we call it Fusion. I love that answer. It's great.
Typical us.
We're like fucking eat us. We don't know.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Don't have a clue.
I love it. John Donaldson, Lagunitas Brewing. Absolutely wonderful company, great beer, great guy. We love having you. Thank you so much for calling in to By the Glass Show, and it's going to be an awesome 2013 and many more years to come.
Hey, thanks for all support and everything. We're ecstatic, Floridians. Whatever you need from us, we're going to do our best to earn your trust. And cheers to you guys. If you ever need anything, let me know.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. Have a great evening. Thanks, John.
Bye.
Fantastic. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back on By the Glass Show, we will drink more Lagunitas.
Yay.
Keep it up and get going and get crazy and having fun like we always do on By the Glass Show on SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com. We take comedy seriously. SoFloRadio.com. Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now. 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
In these hard economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you have a car, truck, or SUV, you could stop paying for all covered repairs. That's right. You might not have to pay a penny more than you want for repairs. Just call 1-800-610-7840 right now to see if you qualify. Repairs for your engine, transmission, and much more can become a thing of the past if your vehicle has less than 130,000 miles. Just call 800-610-7840 610-7840 today and get your car protected, saving you hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Phone lines are open right now. See if your vehicle qualifies. Just call 1-800-610-7840 to get your car protected today. Call 800-610-7840. That's 1-800-610-7840. Never pay for covered car repairs again. Just call 800-610-7840. That's 1-800-610-7840.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
Have you ever wondered how you could make a difference in someone's life? What if you could help hundreds or even thousands of children? Students in the U.S. rank 32nd in world math skills. It's time for our children to catch up. Become an owner of one of the world's fastest growing franchises, Mathnasium. Mathnasium is the leading math-only learning center in the U.S. Imagine helping hundreds, even thousands of students in your community improve in school and raise their self-esteem. Call us at 800-434-1360. 800-434-1360.
Hi, this is John Etch from the Sports Tech Show. Log on to SoFloRadio.com every Sunday from 8 to 10 and catch me, John Etch, Natalis, and George Rodriguez, a.k.a. Ivan Bad, talk sports, current events, entertainment, and all that good stuff from 8 to 10 every Sunday. And then on Tuesdays, for those who just want to hear strictly sports, Tuesdays at night from 7 to 9, where you will hear me, John Etch, Joe Buck, and Kyle Jones talk strictly sports. Those who like statistics, those who like in-depth coverage of each game, Tuesdays at night. That's right, only on SoFloRadio.com. Again, Sunday from 8 to 10, and on Tuesdays from 7 to 9. Log on to the best website in the world, SoFloRadio.com. Peace.
And now we return you to By the Glass.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to By the Glass.
I keep forgetting Brett can actually sing. He's not one of these like posers. Oh, I'm gonna sing now.
Nice effect, yeah.
There's a scale. There's sounding good in the shower, okay at karaoke, and then Brett Hubbard.
Oh, hey,
Yeah. I have a rock band. I'm entitled to sing. I can sing along with Sublime.
We wrote some new songs the other night, too.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's this place called Rockin' Angels up there. It's right off of Dixie in Del Rey, and we're going to definitely go jam up there anyway. Right. So anyway, welcome back to By the Glass, show about beverage culture where we drink the taste and some good beers. We just had Mr. John Donaldson, Lagunitas Brewing Company, call in, and I got to say, what a great guy, what a great company, what good times. This is what it's all about,
Yeah,
folks.
they're fun.
It's no longer tastes great, let's fill it. It's about daytime and
What a
and
laid-back
chronic
brewing
and
company.
sucks and all that kind of
And
really cool
undercover.
stuff that you just couldn't even make up if you tried. Yeah, Undercover Shutdown, baby. I mean, it's like it's a Grateful Dead song, and that's where they're from, and it's a lot of good times and a lot of collaborations, and just things are going to just keep getting better.
Boy,
They're
they
on track.
love hops, though. I'll tell you that. I mean, even their malty stuff has a kick.
Yeah,
of
but
hops.
it's not like nasty. It's
No, it's all
Isn't
great.
that funny?
They
You
blend it
guys,
in.
I mean,
'cause
that's the best part
We're
about
hop haters over here.
That's
Yeah.
the best part about this show is that you guys always had the public view. I mean,
They do something with it,
They do something to their beers that
Yeah.
make it more palatable. It's the
Absolutely.
creaminess. It's the way that it breaks it down. I mean, the hops. If you want to get geeky,
Little
the
tiny
isomerization of hops gives alpha acids. But the fact of the matter is
What?
their hops are
The isomerization
Not
of
so
hops gives off
bitter.
the acid.
Which
they're
one
not
are we
so
drinking
bitter.
now?
This one here is Little Something Something.
Oh,
This is
okay.
a wheat beer. That's how you see that wonderful, beautiful head. But the fact of the matter is that it's a Crystalweizen. That means that it's not cloudy. It's a crystal see-through beer, and it's got a wheat-ish kind of flavor, but it's 8% alcohol.
All right.
And the wheat
Whoa.
gives you a real nice dry
7.5
crispness.
actually, Brett.
Okay, I'm sorry. And it also gives you a wonderful fruit ester. Now, do you get a lot more of those really lovely fruits off
This
the
is
top.
delicious when it hits your tongue.
You know, it's fantastic. And when you stick your nose in the glass, you get a tremendous amount of citrus.
Smells like beer.
You don't doesn't
No,
smell like
no,
grapefruits to you?
absolutely.
Yeah, I got some
It doesn't smell like beer at
flowery,
all. It smells
citrusy,
like flower
fruity.
citrus to me. There's the wonderful hops that they're using out there. Now those are definitely some Cascade.
Yeah, I got Cascade hops for sure.
You know, they're just
Tastes like
popping
a
right up.
Sierra Nevada.
Well, it's a
little bit.
Well, that's a pale ale. This is like a 50. They probably use about 20 to 30% wheat, malted wheat in their base, and then the rest is I
very
would
good.
imagine, different types of pale malts and that type of thing. But it's a wonderful, wonderful offering. It's got a lovely golden color, and it's just a really nice, fluffy white head. I mean, look at the.
I still have a head.
Yeah, look at the look at it. Look at the foam there. It's got really nice. It's clumpy. You know, when you get that really nice, they call it bubble gum, or bubblegum balls, or like because it's lumpy, all different types of balls and stuff. That's a really really nice. That means that their yeast is strong. It's propagating correctly. It's really lively, and it's just really working for them. I mean, that's what it's all about. These guys just make amazing beers.
This is good beer. This would be
And that's
this
the
is like
thing. They can have
concert
great
beer.
gimmicks and great, stories, great names, all kinds of different things going on. But in the end, it's really about the beer, and the beer is exceptional. The guy was brewing beer for the hell of it, and then all
I
of
love
a
how
sudden,
he started with a little beer kit.
Yeah,
I
everybody
love
starts
man.
with that little beer kit. How
This
many of those?
actually has something really awesome on the bottle. It says "Life is uncertain. Don't sip."
That is true. And then beers,
What?
Yeehaw. And then people mumble. Beer speaks. People mumble.
There you go.
There you go.
It's true because I was just mumbling as I said it. But also, folks at home, the best thing about this little something, let me see the label there. If you guys check it out, go to the Lagunitas.com.
Actually,
the girl on there is Lagunitas. I think her name's Betty, and she's a little Betty.
Go check out
absolutely.
the.
and they do all those like 50s kind of posters and stuff.
Go check out their website.
Jane-
The shirt for that is even cooler.
The Jane Mansfield.
Yeah,
the
I
looking
like it.
girl. Yeah, they have great shirts, guys. They have a wonderful amount of POS. You know what's really cool? Remember those butterfly knives that the Chinese dudes use?
Sure.
The butterfly
Got
knife?
the-
They
yeah,
have
I
a
got a set of
butterfly
them.
opener.
Oh, get out.
You have George's
Because I know how to
attention.
do that.
You? Well,
Yeah,
guess
I
what,
taught my
George?
daughter.
I'm going to get you one.
Really? Oh, man. I'm going to be the coolest guy at the party.
It's going to be
again.
a butterfly beer opener. Yeah, I'll get you
Oh,
one. It's
that'll
so
be
cool. And I was
sweet.
using one the other day, too. I was doing that whole thing.
I taught my daughter how to do that. Did you see the movie Kick-Ass?
No.
Oh, you got to see it. I'll get
Kick-Ass.
you a
Did I
copy.
see that movie?
It has the father teaching his daughter how to do
Oh, I
the,
saw
the,
that,
yeah.
the
Yeah, it's
butterfly
pretty
knife.
cool.
And me and my daughter had a moment there in the theater.
This is an amazing beer.
Yeah, it's
It-
really
It
very
just
good.
comes
Yeah.
right out with so much citrus. And then you
Now,
have
is this
It's
on
just a
draft
little-
anywhere down here?
No, this one's not on draft. All I really have found on draft down here is the IPA and the pills.
Okay.
But you live in
World of Beer.
World of Beer has
Territory.
IPA.
Okay.
And they might have pills.
Okay.
But I also know that there's a little place called the Tipperary in over there in Deerfield by Jeremy's studio
Oh.
that has the pills on. I went and had a couple pills there the other night. The pills on tap is phenomenal too. It's got a little bit more bright hop initially, but it also creams right out. I just love what these guys are doing. And
It took me a while to figure out that you were talking about Pilsner.
like that shirt, do you?
Whatever you,
The Pilsner.
You kept saying pills, and I kept thinking like purple pills.
yeah, you would, George. Little round pills with stamps on them, George.
Well, I mean, you kept saying pills and pills, and I was thinking like it sounded like Rush Limbaugh over there.
What? I can't hear you. Rush
What?
Limbaugh.
Oh!
Anyway, so yeah, pills. They just call it that. They just use the PILS and then Czech style. It was funny because it's like a bunch of rednecks in that place, and when you walk in, they're like, I was like, hey, let me get a Lagunitas, and they're like, you mean that Czech beer? I'm like, no, because it says Czech style pills on the bottom. I'm like, that's like the most American beer you can possibly buy. You know, that's the American story. It's ingenuity. That's somebody starting up America. Somebody starting up with a little beer kit and taking it all the way to a 600,000 barrel brewery.
That's America.
On two coasts. It's
Yeah.
just ridiculous. I mean, it's amazing. And then they're on track for Chicago. I'm so psyched. I've never been to Chicago. This seems like
Really?
I will
Oh,
be going to
Chicago
Chicago
fun.
to this brewery to check this out. And then they're going to build the brewery around the tap room. Everything they do has just got a really great flair to it, and it's a lot of fun and an absolute pleasure. But as we drink all these wonderful fine offerings from Lagunitas, wine, beers, spirits, and everything on this show, we like to say do so responsibly. Do not drink and drive. Please do not overconsume. Don't drink until
Never.
you're 21, and if you're pregnant, please wait the 9 months. Your children will thank you. And that being said, what do you guys think? I mean, just absolutely top notch, right?
Yeah, this is very
Absolutely.
Yeah, I saved the Maximus for
Handcrafted
last.
beer.
It's so handcrafted. It's funny because I was talking to somebody today, and they were telling me about the handcrafted aspect, there's actually breweries now that are completely automated to the point to where there's not one single human being in the brewery. There's just one guy that sits in the control room, and we're talking massive football-sized warehouses with everything going on.
Just comes in trucks, it gets dump
comes
loaded.
in the truck, they dump the grain, they dump the hops, and then what they do
It's
is
all
it all automated,
steamed
just
and
goes in. They get the
sanitized.
temperatures, the water flows in, makes the mash. It gets pumped into this one, pumped into that one, goes into the bottling, and there's not one person. Even the forklifts
There's no
that
heart in
drive
it.
stuff around are all on lasers and stuff. There's not one heartbeat in the whole
That's
place,
crazy.
and they don't even need the guy in the control room. But he's kind of like Homer Simpson. You know, he's got the
Just
little
sitting
thing
there.
going back and forth
Yeah.
that hits the button, and he's sleeping, and they don't even need him. It's absolutely
All right, hey, I got a
amazing.
beer question.
Yeah,
All
go
right,
ahead.
so since we didn't have Hop Stupid, and that's what my friend was looking for us to have, how does this compare to that?
Okay, Hop
And should he
Stupid-
go out and try this one?
Absolutely. This is the Maximus. This is their Imperial IPA. Now, an Imperial IPA
Is going to be like
Okay.
super IPA.
The difference between an Imperial IPA or let's say like a barley wine,
Easy does it on that one.
okay, means that it's really all about the alcohol levels as
said
opposed
you're
to the IBUs. IBUs, International Bitterness Unit. Now, with an Imperial IPA, you're going to have, give me 1 second there, you're going to have higher alcohol and then you're going to have the IBU to match it. With something like a barley wine, you're going to have more.
That's good.
More alcohol with less IBU. So there's really a variance on how much alcohol to IBU is the difference distinction between a
think this
barley
has
wine
enough alcohol to
and an
cut through the
Imperial.
hops.
Now the
Yeah.
Hop Stupid is a
just sick hops.
is a variation on that. It has even more IBUs than the Maximus,
less alcohol.
but it might have a little less alcohol. I'm not
Okay.
100% on that.
We'll have to
Why
look
don't
at
you
it.
pull it up, Jason, and
I
we
have
can
it
talk
over
about
here,
it?
yeah.
Because I see the
This is
Maximus.
yummy.
Show me the.
This
you
is
really
really
like it?
good, George.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
And you guys aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I thought this
Not
was going
hop
to be the
people.
worst one. Yeah. Unbelievable.
So your friend John from
This has some good flavor to it.
Yeah, we won't need to say where he's from, but
Right.
someone I work with.
right. Let me see.
72 IBUs.
He's been
says on the
going
bottle.
to
72 IBUs.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
That means those are international bitterness units.
That's
and,
very-
and let's say a Miller Lite is like a 3.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. This is 72. So this is an IPA Maximus. So it has 8.2% alcohol, and the
Wow.
IBUs are 72. So let's look at what the Hop Stupid is. Why don't you pull that up, Jason?
to, yeah.
And then we'll be able to differentiate between the two beers and tell you the exact difference, because I'm not going to lie to you.
What's the IBU on the IPA?
Oh, I actually have the information here. The IPA, the regular IPA,
Yeah.
is, it doesn't say on this information. It's 6.2% alcohol, but it doesn't say IBUs. Now, the Hop Stupid is 22. It doesn't give me any information. Oh, 8% alcohol. So it's lower alcohol and 102 IBUs. It's more of a barley wine.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense? No. It's even more of an imperial. The more
Hop
higher
Stupid is
alcohol,
8%.
lower IBU is barley wine. This is more of an imperial. So it's going to be even. So what they've done is they've reduced the alcohol to let the hops shine through even more. So there's even
That's
more.
crazy.
102 IBUs. People
This is
say that you're.
unbelievable.
People say that we're not trying that. That's the Hop Stupid. But this is the Maximus. People say that your threshold for tasting bitterness units stops at 100.
Okay.
So they're over that,
Yes.
obviously.
Which is exactly what they would do. Now look at the head on this. This is
yeah,
ridiculous.
this is
It is-
unbelievable.
I
Have you
mean,
tried
and
it
it's
yet?
very like there's
I mean,
small
I thought-
bubbles. It's
I
like
thought
very
for
creamy
sure George
foam.
was going to not like this. I thought for
Yeah.
sure I was not.
I was-
This
you
is
know what
really
makes
good beer.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
very good.
And the thing about it is, when you get to an Imperial IPA, you have to increase your maltiness, you have to increase your mouthfeel, the dextrins, you have to increase the sweetness, basically, and then the hops need to be balanced. So we've balanced the hops with a big, sweeter malt, more caramel malts that are gonna.
Boy, 2 of those and you're out somewhere. That's all you need.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely, because this one's 8.5, right?
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. It's fantastic.
That
beer.
extra 0.5 though just cuts through.
It does, and it's really amazing.
refreshing.
That these guys have got it down to a science. You know, that's what they say about the Maximus. They made it for a really hot summer day when you can go out. You want something that's going to cut through on your tongue, and you're really going to feel it, but it's still going to be refreshing. You can drink it. Who thought you
Wow.
could drink an 8.5% alcohol beer?
No.
That would cut through like
With a
that.
59 IBU.
That's yummy.
It really is, and I'm so glad to hear you guys say that.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised.
because the malts really come through, and it's so cold. This one's nice and cold and refreshing.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it's fantastic. I'm really enjoying myself, guys. It has been an absolute pleasure. What do you got over there? I can't see Dio.
The butterfly bottle opener.
You like that, don't
Yeah,
you?
go-
We're gonna get one for the
so
studio.
cool.
I have one.
Go
We'll
check
get
out their website. It's
yeah,
really
everybody
good.
go to Lagunitas.com. And, thanks so much for John for calling in. Thanks for Ed Roberts for putting together a great show as usual. Thanks for Total Wine for just being you, Total Wine. And thanks to Tony McGee for starting a great brewery. Thank you, George. Thank you, Dio. Thank you, Jason. Love you.
Oh, you're
guys.
sweet.
And
Over
thanks,
here
Brett,
talking.
for
Yes,
Oh,
thank you, Brett.
for starting a show called
for
By the
leading
Glass,
us
where we
through
can
this
get
show.
together every Thursday and drink.
Yeah, letting us
and let
drink about
everybody hear
beer.
us and let the beer speak, so we can mumble. And that's what we do. Tune in next week, folks. Where we're gonna have another great show for you. We're on every Thursday at 6 on SoFlo Radio and ByTheGlassShow.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and go out to your Total Wine, ABC, Whole Foods, and whatnot to get a great Lagunitas, and at your local bar, World of Beer, and everywhere that's coming to you live, just like we are. Everybody have a wonderful evening, and drive safe, please, and be safe. See you next week. Good night.
SoFloRadio.com and SoFloTelevision.com.